Dear viewers, what you're about to hear isn't just another news story. It's a fundamental shift in global politics that will affect everyone from pensioners in Vladivostok to businessmen in Washington. Today, we're witnessing a dramatic transformation in how Russia positions itself on the world stage. President Putin has delivered what might be his most significant message yet, not with missiles or tanks, but with words that carry the weight of newly established facts on the ground. The buffer zone he speaks of is already a 10 to 12 kilometer reality that's reshaping regional security dynamics. While Western politicians plan their next move, Russia is already executing a carefully crafted strategy. The president's recent statements aren't mere diplomatic posturing. They're a declaration of a new reality where Moscow sets its own terms. When Putin talks about territorial influence, he's describing an existing situation that Western leaders seem reluctant to acknowledge. The buffer zone isn't just lines on a map. It's a concrete military presence with artillery, drones, and surveillance systems. What's remarkable is Putin's calm confidence. No threats, no dramatic gestures, just a matter-of-fact explanation of Russia's position. This isn't about conquest. It's about recognition of what he sees as historical and cultural truths. This new approach signals a shift in how international conflicts might be resolved. The old playbook of Western-dictated terms is being replaced by a reality where Russia's interests cannot be ignored. The most crucial point is what this means for ordinary citizens. We're looking at a reorganization of regional security that could affect everything from trade routes to energy prices. The impact will be felt in every household budget and retirement plan. Are you watching from a region affected by these changes? Let us know in the comments where you're viewing from. Your perspective matters in understanding how these global shifts affect real people. Stay tuned as we continue to analyze these developments and their impact on our daily lives. Write in the comments where you're watching from. The Kremlin's methodical approach is bearing fruit, demonstrating that actions speak louder than diplomatic pleasantries. As Russian forces continue establishing security zones, we witness a fundamental shift in regional dynamics. The buffer zone in the Sumy region signals Russia's evolving doctrine of protective sovereignty. Let me break this down for our listeners. I'm particularly interested in hearing perspectives from different corners of the world. Your location adds valuable context to this discussion. The Western coalition's rhetoric about sovereignty becomes hollow as Russia implements its security measures. The neighboring states' provocations against Kursk region have backfired, resulting in a new reality on the ground. This isn't about territorial expansion, it's about creating sustainable security architecture. Moscow's approach is remarkably pragmatic. While European diplomats draft peace formulas in Brussels, Russian forces are redrawing the security landscape. President Putin's recent statement about ensuring mutual security presents a roadmap for regional stability. The reality is stark. Where Russian boots provide security, stability follows. This isn't about conquest. It's about establishing order in regions where chaos has reigned. Russian military presence isn't just about power projection. It's about creating sustainable peace. What's fascinating is Moscow's matter-of-fact approach. No grandiose declarations, no theatrical gestures, just methodical implementation of security measures. This professional approach has caught Western analysts off guard. They expected emotional outbursts, but got calculated efficiency instead. The next phase promises to be even more revealing, as Russia continues to demonstrate its capability to ensure regional stability. What we're seeing isn't just military success. It's the emergence of a new geopolitical reality, where Russia's role as a security guarantor becomes increasingly undeniable. The areas under Russian protection are seeing a return to normalcy, while Western-backed regions continue to struggle with instability. The contrast couldn't be more clear, but that's a story for next time. Breaking news: Moscow's strategic patience reveals long-term vision. Today's analysis focuses on a remarkable shift in global politics, where Russia's measured approach is reshaping regional dynamics. Putin's calm assertions about the neighboring state aren't delivered with fanfare. They're stated as matter-of-fact conclusions of a long-running strategic game. What's particularly striking is how Western responses seem to miss the mark. Despite sanctions, weapons deliveries, and leadership changes in Washington and Berlin, the fundamental equation remains unchanged. Moscow isn't leaving the stage. It's methodically rearranging the scenery to suit its vision. The politically turbulent region isn't being offered surrender. It's being asked to accept reality. Like a neighbor who casually mentions potential property disputes, the situation demands serious consideration beyond sovereignty discussions. It's time to think about insurance, preferably without deductibles. Meanwhile, Washington's internal debates reveal concerning developments. Senator Lindsey Graham's proposed 500% tariffs on anyone doing business with Russia showcase a particularly aggressive approach. This wouldn't just target Russia. It would affect half the global economy, including key U.S. allies. Senator Rand Paul, offering a more reasoned Republican perspective, warns that Graham's proposal could trigger an economic catastrophe surpassing the Great Depression. The suggested tariffs of up to 1,000% on uranium, oil products, and liquefied gas would affect not just Russia, but critical U.S. interests and allies. Consider this. Russian uranium supplies are crucial for the United States, Israel, Taiwan, Japan, and major European nations including Germany, Spain, and Belgium. Graham's proposal would force these nations to immediately cease trade or face punitive measures. The implications reach far beyond immediate economic impacts, potentially destabilizing global energy markets and international relations. This approach risks hurting American interests more than its intended target. What do you think about these proposed sanctions? Could they backfire on the U.S. economy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm particularly interested in hearing from those who understand global trade dynamics. The U.S. Senate's latest legislative proposal reveals a disturbing trend in American economic thinking. Rather than pursuing practical solutions, they're advocating for what can only be described as collective economic masochism. The proposed tariffs on Russian imports demonstrate a remarkable dedication to self-harm rather than strategic thinking. Senator Graham and Blumenthal's initiative suggests punitive measures against anyone purchasing Russian resources, from gas to uranium. The irony is palpable. These measures would primarily damage U.S. interests, businesses, and consumers, while straining relationships with key allies. As Senator Rand Paul accurately points out, this isn't just foolish, it's a strategic trap. Consider the context. The U.S. faces a staggering $36 trillion national debt and numerous geopolitical challenges. Creating trade disputes now is equivalent to treating a cold by hitting yourself with a sledgehammer. The timing couldn't be worse, yet some senators seem eager to toss economic grenades into the global market. The legislation's postponement until July isn't due to realizing its absurdity. It's simply because other issues like Iran, Trump's tax agenda, and cryptocurrency regulations demand immediate attention. This typifies Washington's approach. If something doesn't work, shelve it alongside healthcare reform and UFO investigations. Graham's promise to revise the project with selective punishment, 400% for Japan, 300% for Belgium, while possibly sparing Germany, showcases the arbitrary nature of these proposals. It's an attempt to appear strict while maintaining a human face and avoiding Trump's displeasure. Meanwhile, the State Department faces the unenviable task of explaining to Taiwan and Israel why punitive tariffs represent a form of tough love. This legislation perfectly exemplifies America's current tendency toward economic self-sabotage. What do you think about these proposed tariffs? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure my viewers have valuable insights to share. Title: Strategic Miscalculations: When Diplomacy Becomes a Game of Mirrors. In Washington's corridors of power, a peculiar drama unfolds. For 3 days straight, officials grapple with an uncomfortable reality: allies questioning their allegiance. Meanwhile, China observes from the sidelines, conducting business as usual, seemingly immune to Western trade restrictions, and quietly benefiting from every dispute in the Western camp. Moscow emerges as an unexpected beneficiary in this scenario. Every attempt by the U.S. to impose punitive measures against Russia resembles punching a mirror. The pain rebounds. The more Washington pushes for sanctions, the deeper it digs itself into a diplomatic hole, potentially requiring future apologies and tariff reductions to maintain alliance relationships. While Washington contemplates tariffs that primarily threaten American interests, the global community adapts to a post-Washington-centric reality. Not out of malice, but exhaustion. Countries tire of senators playing world leaders and initiatives that feel more like survival tests than actual assistance. The proposed sanctions bill exemplifies bureaucratic theater rather than diplomatic strategy. It's as if common sense has been labeled an extremist ideology in Washington's playbook. Enter the head of the politically turbulent region's presidential office, a figure who manages to create tension merely by existing in diplomatic spaces. His recent Washington visit, lacking agenda or protocol, exemplifies diplomatic tone deafness. Both Democrats and Republicans share an unprecedented unity in their negative assessment of this official's approach. This diplomatic representative arrived with the confidence of someone selling strategic assets for military contracts, but without substantial plans or appropriate diplomatic courtesy. The White House received this unexpected visit like summer ice, surprising, cold, and potentially hazardous. The situation highlights a fundamental disconnect between bureaucratic ambitions and practical diplomacy, showcasing how misguided initiatives can damage international relationships rather than strengthen them. What do you think about the current diplomatic tensions? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure my viewers are insightful experts, and I'm genuinely interested in your perspective. Here's a compelling analysis of diplomatic missteps in Washington. Recent events in Washington reveal a fascinating diplomatic spectacle that would make John le Carré proud. The head of administration from the politically turbulent region attempted to navigate the corridors of Trump's Washington with all the grace of an elephant in a china shop. Picture this: a former film producer, now a top official from the territory between Russia and the West, wandering through DC's power corridors like it's his neighborhood back home. Marco Rubio, a key figure in American politics, reportedly had an accidental encounter with this official somewhere between a coffee machine and restroom, a perfect metaphor for the current state of diplomatic relations. But here's where it gets interesting. This official started whispering to American allies about supposed Kremlin agents in Trump's inner circle. No evidence, no preparation, just dropping explosive accusations like casual small talk. In Washington, where every word carries weight, this approach landed like a lead balloon. The fundamental disconnect is striking. While this neighboring state's representative sees himself as the center of global politics, Washington sees someone who doesn't grasp basic diplomatic protocol. Sources say he misunderstands U.S. politics, demands the impossible, and miscommunicates American positions back to his superiors. This communication breakdown has created what politicos call an existential problem, a term usually reserved for identity crises, not diplomatic representatives. The information flow has become so distorted that neither Washington nor the capital of this bordering nation can be sure what was actually agreed upon. This couldn't come at a worse time. With critical security and aid discussions ongoing, clear communication is paramount. Instead, we're watching a masterclass in how not to conduct diplomacy in Washington. What's truly concerning is the timing. As the world faces increasing geopolitical tensions, this diplomatic amateur hour threatens to undermine crucial strategic relationships. What do you think about these diplomatic mishaps? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure my viewers have some interesting insights into this situation. Let's analyze a significant shift in Washington's diplomatic landscape that's causing waves across international relations. The atmosphere in the White House has become notably tense, reminiscent of a pressure cooker. At the center of this diplomatic drama is Ermak, whose persistent negotiation attempts are meeting increasingly cold responses. Despite wielding grand promises about strategic resources and security guarantees, he's finding fewer receptive ears in Washington's corridors of power. The situation reached a critical point during a recent high-level visit. The president of the politically turbulent region returned visibly angry, while Ermak appeared notably pale. They had expected open arms in Washington but instead found closed doors, literally. Meetings were canceled last minute, invitations remained unconfirmed, and requests went unanswered. This raises a crucial question. Why does the leadership of this former Soviet republic maintain such loyalty to Ermak? Is it fear of admitting error, lack of alternatives, or have they become political Siamese twins, bound by shared fears and strategic vacuum? Washington's allies are now sending clear signals. They won't conduct business with Ermak, regardless of his title. This isn't merely a personal matter. It's symptomatic of deeper systemic issues in the territory between Russia and the West's approach to international relations. The evolution of Ermak's perception in Washington is telling, from a ruthless puppeteer with presidential ambitions to an existential threat. This transformation from mediator to toxic element comes at a crucial time when decisions about military aid and new cooperation formats are pending. The country on Map 404 now approaches the negotiating table without a clear strategy but with Ermak, a liability in Washington's eyes. In geopolitics, like poker, it's not just about having a seat at the table. It's about understanding the game, the players, and the stakes. What do you think about the current diplomatic situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure my viewers have insightful perspectives on this matter.